Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today is going to be a Q&A, and I put up a community post a couple of days ago now saying if you have any questions for me, leave those questions and I will do my best to answer them. If you didn't see the community post, it might be, if you're not subscribed, that will be the reason why. You only see community posts if you're subscribed, I think is how it works. Before I start as well, I've got a new camera which I'm hoping gives a better picture quality than the last one. This is like my fourth camera in the last 6 months. It's ridiculous how they just don't last at all. But also, I still have that Farfetch coupon code, but it does expire. I think it expires at the end of next week. It's where I got my top from, if you like my top. The code is here. This isn't an advert. They haven't asked me to show it, and I don't profit from any of you using it. And it works for men and women, although you have to create a new account to get it to work. So the first question, and it's a great one, and it's from Natalie, and it's about having babies. So have a listen to this, because some of you might be new and you might not know why David and I don't have kids. But Natalie has said, "Hi Sophie, how did you and David come to the decision of not wanting to have children? Was it something either of you have ever considered? I applaud you for recognising that it was the right choice for you and for choosing that." Yes, so the situation is, from as young as I can remember, I remember being under the age of 10 and imagining what my life might be like when I was a grown-up. And actually, my life has turned out pretty much the way I imagined it would be, including the type of man that I would be married to in David. And every time I imagined my future, I never imagined children being part of it. And then when I think I was around about 10, my brother was born, and I just remember through being a teenager, because we used to have to help with him, I just remember the nappies, the crying at night, the crying all the time. I remember all of that kind of thing, and that was a further thing for me that made me think, no, I don't want to be a parent. I think being a parent is like a really difficult job, and it's really important, I think, that you know what you're letting yourself in for and that you want to do it, that you're not forcing yourself. And actually, I had a comment from one of you, no, it wasn't a comment, you emailed me a couple of weeks back, and you're getting serious pressure from your family to have children and you don't want them. And you asked me whether I get pressure. David and I have pressure all the time to have children. Particularly when we got married, it was kind of like, great, you're married, when are you going to have children? And it's like, we told you, all of you, we didn't want to have them. And see, for me, I met David when I was about 22, and I already knew I didn't want them. After a while of going out, when we kind of knew that each other was the one, that's when we had the conversation, and I was straight up on it. And I was like, look, do you know what? I don't want kids. And it turned out he was not bothered either. And then the older we've both got, the more we're like, no, that's not for us. But if you're going through the pressure of it at the moment to have them and to make up your mind, because as a woman, that's the hardest thing, is when you hit about 35 and you think, or even younger, like 30, or you're coming up to 30 and you think, should I do it? And you feel that pressure. I would say that I did go through that with David. We did go through a period of time where we thought, oh my gosh, it's now or never. Have we really made the right decision? And we stuck to our guns on it. And now when I look back, I did make the right decision, and my husband was on board with it. He didn't want them either. But as a woman, I feel like the pressure is on us more than it is for the man, because obviously we can't have kids forever. So if you are going through it, I get it. Okay, I understand that pressure and that stress, and just do what feels right for you, because at the end of it all, you have to look after your child. The people putting pressure on you, they won't look after it for you. Another really good question, and I don't know your name because I think it's like a made-up name, like initials kind of thing. But you said, "Hi Sophie, how do you reduce stress under huge work pressure? I tend to eat a lot when I'm stressed out. Do you have a healthier way, like recommendations?" And then Alexandra, you've responded back to that comment, and you've also said, "I'm the same way, I supplement with food." I'm going to be honest with you, I deal with stress very badly. What do? When I'm stressed, I just go inward on myself. David always knows when I'm stressed because I go really quiet and I can't help it, and I just go in on myself and I let all of my thoughts, all of my worries, all of my stresses kind of go wild in my mind. My stresses are always to do with work, and normally it's when I've got too much on and it's just me and David doing it and I feel overwhelmed, and that tends to be the type of stress that I get. But I don't have a thing with food when it comes to stress. It tends to more be that I go introverted on myself and I don't want to leave the house and I don't want to go out. I just feel like I need to sit at my desk and work, and then it becomes really unhealthy and I end up in this unhealthy cycle of, I have before gone weeks without going, like gone 2 weeks, and I get the food delivered by Amazon. I'm not even going out to do that. I've got an at-home gym, so I'm going to the gym at home, and it's really unhealthy. And so I don't actually have any words of wisdom for you on how to deal with stress. I am trying to meditate more, and that's one, and try and be more organized, try and make lists of things that I need to do and get them done in a certain order of priority. And that's one thing that helps me, but that might not help you. I'm sorry. Another really great question here from AB2826. And this is to do with the current cost of living crisis. And you said, "Hi Sophie, I was wondering what your thoughts are on the rising cost of living and inflation in the context of buying luxury. Have your luxury shopping habits changed? Mine certainly have." I know it's a big question and you've addressed parts of it before, but anyway, have a great week. My spending habits have changed hugely over the last 6 months for sure. I've spoken to you about how I'm doing less hauls, and I am doing hauls, of course. You know, this is YouTube at the end of the day, and you watch me in part because you want to see what's new and what's out there, and I do buy things to review and to show. If those things look gross on me, I return them. If I love them, then I keep them. You know, I do the return thing with you where you tell me, no, send that back, or no, you've got to keep that. But, you know, my hauls have got a lot less. David and I are heavily investing right now in a few different areas, and we're doing it for our future, for our retirement, but also because of tomorrow. You know, you never know what could happen tomorrow. And so we're really changing our spending habits, and I haven't been shopping the way I used to. Do I miss it? Well, it's made me love what I've got a lot more because I get to enjoy what I've got. I am aware that it's probably made my channel a bit boring because I'm not on here showing you what's cool and what's new all of the time. And the things that I am showing you tend to be cheaper items, like smaller ticket price items. Even bags, you know, I showed you a Tory Birch bag the other day that was like £450. That's still a lot, but it's not 5k. Another review has asked about what gel nails I use because I do my own gels from home. Guys, you have to try Neo Nails. They actually have their own YouTube channel. That's how I discovered them. Do not buy, if you can, do not buy gel nail products on Amazon, because I was doing that and I couldn't figure out why. It's gross, but my nails were lifting and bleeding around the edges. And I discovered it's because the gel polish on Amazon, most of it's actually fake and you don't know what's in it. Neo Nails, you can buy proper grade gel, and I think they've got acrylic on there as well. And it's you don't need a technician certificate to be able to buy it. Mandy has asked, "Hi Sophie, what are my thoughts on career? What do you think makes a happy marriage? Do you think finance plays a big part in it? Also, advice for people that are in their 30s and feeling they're not where they should be with their career and finance." And you've said thanks in advance. So many good questions. Marriage. I think, to a degree, you just get lucky. And I would say, and I've had this confirmed by other people, I'm quite an easy person to get along with. If you leave your plates on the side, I'll just put them in the dishwasher. I'm not going to pick an argument with you over it. Likewise, if I leave mine on the side, David's the same. He's like, I'll just put it in the dishwasher. Who cares? I do think it's possible to end up with partners where you just clash. You know, probably we've all been there, where even if you're the most easygoing person on the earth, you'll meet, whether it's your romantic partner or friends, or it could even be family, it could be a parent. Sometimes you just don't get on. And I think that a good marriage is about compromise, and it's about being on the same page with stuff. Yes, finances do play a part. I mean, things such as David doesn't dictate to me what I can spend my money on, and neither do I dictate to him. However, if one of us was going crazy with a credit card and racking up debt, it would be different. But because we're both on the same page with pretty much everything, whether it's plates left on the side or finances, because we're a team, is how we see it, the marriage just works. And the other thing you asked is any advice to people that are kind of like 30ish and feeling as though they're not in the right, career-wise finances. I always think there is no age where you cannot change your life anymore. There is no age that you reach and you can't go back to uni and retrain. There's no age that you reach that you can't completely chuck your career away if you're not loving it and start from the bottom doing something else. And so I would say that please don't think that because you're over 25 that it's curtains for you. But yeah, if you're not happy, have that strength and conviction in yourself, that courage in yourself that you know what the right thing is. And 30s are young, just go for it. And it doesn't even matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're way older. I had one of you email me the other day, you're in your 60s and you're working on your masters. Good. See what I mean? Age, go and do what feels right. And don't feel bad about where you are at your life at the moment. Gwyneth has asked the question, do I save for months in order to buy luxury items? And you say that I enjoy your videos from years back where I used to talk about how I saved up for luxury items. I wish you could post another video on how you save to buy luxury. It's such a good question, and I want to do this video, but I've already done it twice and the answer is still the same. Please let me know if you'd like that video again, or if you've seen it twice and you're like, yeah, I get it. But basically, yes, I save for luxury. As I said, David and I are constantly putting away in investments. We're constantly saving. And every so often, if something comes up and I really, really like it, and I've been thinking about it for a long time, then I will use some of the savings to get what it is that I want. And both David and I save together. So we both work in the same business, so the money we earn is both of ours. It's not like his and hers kind of thing. And the same with him. If he wants to go and buy something, then the money's there. The way that I do it, or the way that we do it, is really by working, and then paying ourselves a salary at the end of each month. And of that salary, I deduct all of my bills, everything, outgoings, council tax, mortgage, utility bills, everything. And what's left is what I put in the savings pot for if we want to go on holiday or if we want to retire, etc. David does the same thing. And that's the best way I would recommend doing it. And I keep a vision board, and it's got pinned on it all of my goals, all of the things I want to achieve, and I normally update it per year. All of the places I want to visit and the things I want to save up for. Good question here is, how long have you had rabbits as pets? How many rabbits have you had over the years, and how old are our current two? And you say that you had a rabbit for 3 years and you still think of him often and fondly all these years later. They're such great pets, and you agree that they're too smart to be kept caged all day. So we've got two, Jessie and Louie. We have had, in total, rabbits, we've had 4, and we got really unlucky with our first 2 because they both died, and they both died reasonably young. Rabbits technically can live kind of 8 to 12 years, but our first one, he died when he was around about 4, and I know why that was. We'd moved house. And he got so stressed out from the house move. Not that his move was stressful, like he was put in his carry case and he was very gently moved. But when he saw his new surroundings, he freaked out, he stopped eating, he got stasis, and it was awful, and he died. And that was actually, I don't think I'll ever really get over that. I don't like thinking about it too much. It was really stressful, and it was one, I almost hated the house because of it. Our second bunny, I loved her so much. She was a rescue rabbit. And when we got her, she used to do this weird thing where she used to keep like lifting her chin up. And after a year, she like got paralysed in her back legs. And we took her to this specialist vet, £2,500 later. Honestly, guys, rabbits, you can go to a shop and buy them for sort of £50. By the time you've neutered them and you're paying for hay once a week, they cost a fortune. They're not cheap pets to have by any means. But £2,500 later, we had a scan done, and it turned out that she was lifting her neck because she had a tumour in her thyroid, and it was pressing against her spine, which then made her legs like she couldn't use them. We had to have her put to sleep, and it was horrible. Mary wants to know, am I excited for the F1 season? Yes, massively. Hoping to go to Monza this year. One of you wants to know, when do I plan on retiring? And you've said, you mean from your everyday job, not from YouTube. And also, what are my tips on motivation, especially when it comes to saving? Thanks a lot for your answer. And this is from Monica. So I can see myself working forever, because the kind of person I am, I get quite bored, and I like to be busy. That's another reason why I love doing my YouTube videos, because it fills my time with something that I really enjoy doing. So I can't see myself ever retiring. Maybe that will change in the future, but at the moment, I just will imagine that I'll work until I can work no more. When it comes to saving, I've spoken about that already, how I save. Teresa has asked the question, what do I think of these big time influencers on social platforms? For example, like Elon Musk, and people such as that. I think good on them, but at the same time, just imagine having so much money, you're like, I'm just going to try and fly to the moon today. It was Elon Musk that wants to do that. I know there's a few of them that are in a race to do it. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have any thoughts on big influencers, really. Sorry I don't have an answer for that, but I don't really know. I haven't really thought about that before. Maybe I need to think about that some more. How did David and I meet? That's from Pauline. Quite an interesting story there. I met David through a place that I used to work at, and I was working at this place. Do you remember I've spoken to you about it before? Oh my God, it was terrible there. I was bullied so badly in this particular place that it was a regular occurrence that I would, at the end of the day, I'd sometimes have to run to my car because I knew I was about to burst out crying. And the amount of times I'd get to my car and just cry because the day I'd had. Like, they accused me of stealing stuff. Stuff would go missing. But then, for example, one morning I got into work, opened my desk drawer, and right neatly placed on the top was this like £25 M&S voucher that I was meant to have taken. And I went and got my boss and I was like, I'm not touching it. Someone's put that in. £25 M&S. I'm hardly going to steal £25 M&S. But anyway, that was a terrible place. But I tried to get out of there so badly. And I could not, for the life of me, get anyone recruiter-wise to even contact me. I was sending out my CV for 2.5 years, couldn't get out. And then I met David there one day, and it was creepy because as soon as I met him and we started going out, the phone started ringing from the recruiters wanting to interview me for different jobs. And I was not there more than 6 months after I met him. I just left, and we always talk about it. Because if I had left before I'd met him, I would obviously never have met him. It's weird how sometimes the stars align, you know, when you think about it. What other YouTubers do I watch? Do you know, weirdly, I don't actually watch any luxury YouTubers for 2 reasons. The first reason is that you can really easily, I believe, when you watch others, inadvertently copy their videos. And out of respect to my fellow YouTubers out there, I don't want to do that. So I think that's the first thing. But also, because I talk about luxury myself, it doesn't interest me. But there are lots of people that I follow on Instagram. So for example, Handbagaholic, Cassie, Victoria, Tamara. There's so many girls that I follow on Instagram, and I'm more engaged there because, you know, when you can just scroll and be like, oh my god, that outfit's amazing. Whereas on YouTube, you have to dedicate sort of 10 minutes of your day to sit there and listen to someone. But the videos I do watch on YouTube are Exploring with Josh. He is amazing. He's got a channel where he basically goes and looks at abandoned houses. I love it. But I also watch Seen Through Glass. He is a car YouTuber. Archie Hamilton, he is another car YouTuber. Car Wow. I watch a lot of car content, to be honest, more than anything. Tessa Curls, you want to know what happened to Anne Lee. Anne Lee used to be my sales associate at Dior. He left quite a while ago now, and he is now, from my understanding, I think he's a personal shopper. Nonna has said, how is the current world situation affecting your love for luxury? I ask because I do find myself getting more disconnected with the desire to be a luxury consumer. Oh my god, such a good question. The Balenciaga thing, which I didn't speak about because I was told not to, very long story, can't go into it, really sorry, hope you understand. But that has left me with products that I don't want to use. And since that, it makes you think. Just imagine you go and you buy, you're spending money on a bag. That could happen again with another brand, and then you've got another bag on the shelf that you don't want to use. And so from that situation alone, it's made me wary about buying stuff now. And I know some of you have told me the same thing. I had a couple of you in the comments months ago when that whole scandal happened saying it's put me off buying full stop in case I go and spend 4K on a bag and then that particular brand does the same thing. And I can't sell the bag because no one else wants it either. So from that point of view, that's made me wary. But from the economic point of view, as I mentioned earlier, it's definitely slowed down my spending. I'm saving a lot more. I'm being a lot more cautious. I think when we start coming out of this, hopefully towards the end of the year or into 2024, because obviously we're in a recession at the moment, I think I might start going back a little bit. But certainly for now, it's slowed down my spending and has made me a lot more cautious. Wendy, I need to shout out to Wendy because Wendy it will have been yesterday, had dental surgery. And Wendy, I really hope you're recovering well from that. Anything dental is horrible. I had another question, and this came through on Instagram. This is from Mitchell. And Mitchell's got a really good query to do with luxury luggage. Is it worth it? And you basically explained that you have been considering the Rimowa, I can never say that word, range, and that you love it, but you don't know whether to opt for a designer or not, or a plain nondescript bag. Well, I think everyone should do what they love to do. And Mitchell, if you want to go for it, then go for it. You will look amazing when you are traveling. Personally, for me, I don't go for designer luggage because it gets battered. I think it can make you a target for thieves. I think there are many reasons why it's not a good idea, particularly even things like in your hotel room when you go out for the day and your suitcase is there and it's got like Louis Vuitton all over it or whatever it may be. It can just make you a beacon for thieves. So that for me is why I've never gone for designer luggage. But as I've said, I think you should do what you want to do. Veronica, again, I love Veronica. Veronica's put a good question, and this is to do with, you know how I've spoken before about how I had an eating disorder in the past. And you have said, could I please talk about the eating problems I've had, how I've overcome them, and how I'm doing now. And if I ever have problems, like periods where the food becomes a problem again, I think this topic could be of interest to many people, especially nowadays where Photoshop makes everyone look pretty and slim, except us mere mortals. Oh, I'm the same. Do you know, I go on my Instagram and there's all these gorgeous people and everyone's like just stunning but it, how much of it's real? I don't know. I mean, obviously it is real because that's what they look like and lucky them. But totally, you know, in this world that we live in now, it can make you feel rubbish. I had an eating disorder. This was going back sort of, it started when I was around about 19. And it started where I couldn't stop eating. I would get stressed and I would eat. I would eat everything and anything. I would just eat. And I started putting on quite a bit of weight. And then by the time when I met David, so by the time I hit about 22, I was at my largest and I wasn't happy. Clearly I wasn't happy because I had this eating thing where I couldn't stop eating, but I also wasn't happy because I didn't fit into, I remember going into Topshop and I didn't fit in their largest size of jean at the time, and there was all the, it just bothered me. But then I went through a very stressful period and I flipped the other way. And this stressful period was so stressful, and thank God I had David to help me get through it. But I basically stopped eating and that made me feel better. That hunger feeling helped the stress. How weird is that? That's how I would describe it. So many people think that when people have anorexia, that it's vanity and it's to do with how you look and it's to do with getting as thin as possible. That might be the case for some people, but for me it had so little to do with that. Yes, although when I was bigger I wanted to be slim, my reason for not eating didn't have anything to do with looks. And I lost control in the end. I had no control over whether I ate or whether I didn't. I completely lost all control. I managed to overcome the stress that was the trigger for all of that. And that stress took about 8 years to get over. I don't want to go into what that stress was because it's like personal to me, but it took me a long time to get over that stress. And when I did get over it, that's when I started to recover. And I haven't had an issue with food now for years. I mean, whether it's eating too much or not eating anything, I haven't had a problem with food for at least 7 years. And I just keep in shape now by eating normally, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't snack, don't really want to snack. I go to the gym. I try and go to the gym 5 days a week, and I go to the gym because I enjoy it as opposed to going there because I feel that I have to. And that's really how I deal with it. But as I say, you know, everyone has a different way of dealing with stress. I'm going to do another question, and because I've got so many, I'm really worried that I haven't been able to answer all of them, but I'm hoping that that's okay with you just because there's so many. This next one, and I can't read out your name because it's like user and then a load of numbers, but you said, "Hi Sophie, can you give some advice for those of us struggling to get through uni? What are ways that helped me focus on the work? How did I stay disciplined and motivated? I'm actually studying marketing myself, and so I definitely want to pick your brain if you don't mind. Any advice for getting into marketing as well? How do you get clients as you like when you work for yourself? And what is a typical week or day in the life of having your own marketing agency?" First of all, uni can be tough. For me personally, I was distracted by partying. That was my problem when I was at uni. That's always been my problem in life. I like a party. But when I was at uni, that was my thing. And I would say the best way to stay focused is to think one day you won't be at uni anymore. You'll be out in the real world, and that degree that you will have paid for and probably got into some debt for needs to earn its keep. And so if you can, try and think about you in the future. Still go out and still have fun, but turn up to lectures, put aside time to study. That would be my best advice really, is to imagine yourself in the future and how you will probably look back in the future and go, "Oh, I wish I listened more," or "I wish I went to more lectures." Or I think that all the time. And then how do you get a job in marketing? Your university might be able to help you out with that. I know of someone who graduated a couple of years ago and their university hooked them up with a place, like a graduate position for a company doing marketing. And how do I get clients? Dave and I, as a little agency that we are, for all intents and purposes, we're kind of like contractors, and we get work, and we've always had work through word of mouth, clients that we've worked with before in our other jobs, but mainly actually through recruiters. So we sign up with recruiters as consultants, and those recruiters find us work. And then normally we pick up more work from that. You know, the people that we work with as a contractor are like, "Oh, you guys are pretty good. Right, I've got another project. go and work on that. Or then that person leaves and goes to another company and they carry on working with you, and it kind of works through that. But I would say if you're looking to start your own agency and you want to build it up, get yourself on LinkedIn, sign up on job boards, and get familiar with recruiters, go and meet them, make sure they remember your face, and sign up as like a freelancer or a contractor. And then I know I said I was only going to do that one question, but I'm going to do this one last one. This is from Beautiful Beyond, and you said, what drives you to keep going every day? And honestly, paying the bills is what forces me to keep going every day. That is what, and that's bad, isn't it? But that will be the same for all of us, you know. If we didn't have bills to pay, would we do what we're doing? Would we get up every day and, you know, sit at a desk or go and do whatever it is that we do that earns the money so we can live and have a roof over our head and have food and heating, etc. So that's really what keeps me going every day. I want to thank all of you for asking a question, and I'm really sorry if I didn't get to your question. There were also quite a few questions that overlapped in terms of the fact that they were asking the same thing. So I've picked out the ones that I saw and remembered the most. Yeah, so that's everything. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.